Have you ever wanted to change your life? And are you ready to start today? I'm Gavin, and I used to be exactly like you. Lazy, sarcastic, comfortably numb, another rage-baiting gamer who thought life was a joke and everyone else was the problem. You can click off this video if you want, run back to your little bubble, and pretend none of this is about you. But deep down, you know why you're here. I know why I'm here. This video isn't about coincidence. This is your sign. This is the part where your old self dies, because I'm not just talking to the version of you watching this. I'm talking to the you that's trapped under years of distraction, addiction, and denial, just like I was. The truth is, you've been living like a bot. No purpose, no peace, no direction. I was too. You wake up tired, you go to bed numb, and you waste your most valuable currency, time. I know that because I used to be him. I used to be disrespectful, reactive, selfish, and bitter. I was always plugged in, never looking within myself. I was angry at the world, but I never once asked, who am I becoming? What am I affecting? Who am I affecting? And I once thought. So you may be asking how I changed. How did I go from being controlled by the world to controlling the world within me, or controlling my own reality? That's the story I'm here to share with you today. But more than that, I'm here to help you rewrite your own story. The first time I realized something was wrong in my life, or the first time something happened, I was in my room, high out of my mind, of course. And I, of course, was thinking about how terrible my life was. But I also was thinking, how can I change? Which a lot of y'all probably haven't done. And if you have done that, then you haven't taken the necessary precautions to change your life. But to continue with the story, I worked at a factory for about 3.5 to 4 months, paying me very good money. But the factory life I knew wasn't for me. I'm not meant to work the 9-to-5 job. You could say I'm lazy for that, but that's just my personal self. I know myself very well, and I know I'm personally not built for a 9-to-5. I'm built for what I'm here sharing with you today. And I was stuck in that job, and I was stuck in that field of negativity, and I was stuck in that lifestyle of repetitiveness, and my life just started crumbling. Even though I was making good money, the life around me was very negative. It was very concerning, and something had to change. Well, we had a point system at the place, and I had missed too many days because of a sickness, and eventually I had got fired because I ran out of points, which is fine, because I believe the universe is aligned with me, and whatever happens is meant to happen. Everything happens for a reason. That's what I believe. So that job was meant to teach me something, which it did, and that's why I believe what I believe. That job put me in a position where I now was making no money when I lost it, but my life got better because I had gotten out of that terribleness. Well, I started playing the game and being toxic and going back to the life that I was once living before. And my sister was like, hey, if you don't get a job, I'm kicking you out. Time goes by, I still didn't get a job. I was still being lazy. And then she was like, okay, you have a certain amount of time. I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks to get a job. If you don't have a job by then, you're gonna have to figure something out. Now, I originally didn't know this. She was never gonna kick me out. It was more of a scare tactic. It worked, of course. I had gotten a job at Walmart, but before that had happened, and she was threatening to kick me out, I had went through this place in my mind of like a deep depression and a deep scare, because I never once thought in my life that I would be able to go homeless. I thought my family was too nice for that. I thought they would never do that. I was essentially taking advantage of the opportunity I was given. And she had told me that. I got really scared and depressed. So I just, of course, took that information and I just laid in my bed. I watched YouTube all day. I didn't know what to think, what to feel. I didn't want to move. But the only thing I knew that I had to do was get a job. And at that time, I didn't want to get a job because I had just left a job that I already hated. And I assumed all of them were going to be like that. So when I was watching YouTube shorts, just being the depressed little self that I was, Luke Belmar, shout out him, that's my mentor, came out on a YouTube short and was saying something along the lines of, what would you do if you couldn't fail? And he was just essentially asking a bunch of questions and saying a bunch of things. If you're not aligning with God, what are you doing? You're the only one in your life that could sabotage your path. You're the only one in your life that can bring change, negative or positive. You're the only one that will control your life. You're the only one in your life that can do anything. And that message hit me more than anything in this whole entire world. Because for some reason, I thought somebody was gonna live my life for me. That's not the case. Somebody will not live your life for you. Matter of fact, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your problems. Nobody cares about what you're thinking. Nobody cares about how you're thinking it. And I realized that was one of the deepest realizations I had, because yes, you're loved by people, but in reality, your family's not thinking about how you're thinking or how you're feeling at all times. Yeah, they might check up on you, but you're not their first priority, and you shouldn't be their first priority, because they need to worry about themselves, or they have other things in their life that they need to worry about. That's why they won't worry about you. And I didn't know that never crossed my head, because I had always been spoiled. I had always been given a good majority of everything, not just by one specific person, but by everybody. I was very fortunate in my life. Even though I grew up from nothing and I grew up broke, I still had many things that a lot of kids wouldn't have. And I definitely wasn't grateful in a way that I should have been. Of course, I appreciate everything that I got throughout my entire life. Like, I take nothing away from anything that anybody has bought me. But I didn't appreciate it how I should have. I didn't appreciate what it actually meant. Someone pouring their soul into just trying to make me happy with these items or these things, these feelings that they were providing for me. I wasn't grateful enough. And I went through those things and I started questioning my life, and that's kind of when things changed. I started looking up every way on the planet on how to make money online. I went through wholesale real estate. I went through faceless content creation. I went through affiliate marketing. I went through e-commerce. I went through branding. I went through, I can't think of any others at the moment, but I went through a lot of different ways of trying to make money online. Now, I learned about how to do all of those things, but I had one problem. I didn't take action on any of these things. And when I did take action, I didn't continue to take action. I didn't continue to move forward how I should have. And that was my bad. But not to get sidetracked, I kept telling myself after I learned these things that I was meant for more. My actions were weak, my habits were trash, my energy was dead. So I made a decision. Not a perfect one, but one that just said enough. I started looking very deep into myself. I started asking myself questions. I started meditating. I stopped overindulging into dopamine. I spent more time outside. I got a new job. I started thinking more than reacting. I stopped hiding from pain, and I started embracing it and transmuting it. Everything I used to avoid became the exact path I had to walk through to evolve. The truth is, if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, it will never change you. You want a better life, but you're too busy avoiding the work. You want peace, but you drown yourself in dopamine every single day, watching TikTok, watching porn, indulging in Twitter and going through all these posts and engaging in comments that you don't need to engage in, giving your energy away to everybody. You want money, but you're too scared to lead. Listen, this isn't about becoming a monk, or it is if you want it to be. This isn't about becoming rich, or it is if you want it to be. But this is about becoming real. This is about looking in the mirror and seeing someone you respect every single day. Seeing someone with discipline that wakes up and does what they need to do to succeed. You won't get another sign like this unless you act. You either take this and you build your new self, or you stay the same, blame the world, and rot quietly in the background like everybody else. If you don't want to be your main character in your own movie, that's your problem. If you want to be a side character in your own movie, that's your problem. But you have to realize that's your problem, and no one else cares about your problems. So you have to fix them, you have to face them, you have to deal with them yourself. The choice is yours. But whatever you do, own it. Own that decision. And if you question yourself and you ask yourself, do I respect the decision that I made? And you respect that decision, then that's what it is. That's what's meant for you. And if you're ready, I'll be here. I'll be posting. I'll be commenting. I'll be sharing with you what I never thought possible. This isn't self-help. This is soul discipline.